Did you know that the letter S is one of the first letters you're supposed to introduce to your kids? Did you even know that there was a correct order that you're supposed to introduce letters of the alphabet? I am Brandy. I'm the mom behind Aunt Bindy's Bookshelf. And on this channel, we help moms as they help their kids to learn and grow. Today, we're going to do that by talking about different activities that you can do to practice the letter S. The letter S is one of the most common letters in the English language. That means it's found in a lot of sight words. That means it's found in a lot of early words, and that it's found in a lot of word families. That's what makes it one of the first letters that you should teach to your kids. Now, when you're teaching kids letters and letter sounds, a couple different approaches. You can definitely plop your kids down in front of a worksheet or run them through flashcards, and that works for some people. But I find that sometimes when you do that, you get some pushback because it can be not fun and engaging. Let's talk about some fun and engaging ways that you can do that feel like play but teach at the same time. Anytime I introduce a new letter, I try to include a couple different sensory experiences. I find that letting kids touch and feel the letter really imprints it on their brain in a way that just looking at the letter doesn't. For the letter S, our sensory experience is going to be Play-Doh. Now, you can make Play-Doh. I have a link that I'll put right here for my favorite homemade Play-Doh. You can make this Play-Doh quicker than you could probably run to Target and buy some, but you can definitely use Play-Doh that you just have laying around too, or just go buy some.
We're going to make a Play-Doh maze. Flatten out a circle of Play-Doh about the size of a salad plate. Write a letter S in the Play-Doh with a pen, a chopstick, whatever you have lying around that has a pointy end. Now, have your kids go over it with their finger, making a deeper trough. Have them repeat this motion, making sure that they lift up their finger and start from the top every time. That's how we're going to properly write the letter, so we want to make sure that's how the muscle memory gets put in their brain. If you want, you can introduce a marble to roll through the maze once kids have formed it with their finger. For our second Play-Doh activity, we're going to roll out some Play-Doh. I got these letter cutouts at the Dollar Tree, and we're going to use them as the basis for our letter play, but you can also just write a letter S on a piece of paper, and that would totally work for this activity. We're going to have kids roll out a snake with their Play-Doh. As they're rolling, they're practicing fine motor skills and getting those writing muscles strong. Now, match the rolled out snake to the cutout. Start at the top so we keep driving that muscle memory home. Another tracing activity to really get that letter S imprinted. I'm going to link to this letter S scarf. You can get it for free in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. And if you don't already have a TPT account, you should absolutely get one. It's not just for teachers, and there's some amazing resources on the site. We're going to have kids trace over the scarf with their finger, again starting at the top. Now, we're going to get out a scarf of our own. Any kind of a scarf or a dish towel, feather boa, they'll all work. Help kids to make a letter S with them. Talk about the curves in the letter. And here's where we start introducing the letter sound. Does it look a little like a snake? What sound does a snake make? That's the same sound an S makes. Isn't that funny? Don't stress or push if kids aren't there yet. At this point, it's just a fun fact that you're throwing out there. This one is another great chance to practice those fine motor skills and really spend some time with the S. Write a large S on a piece of paper. Use cardstock or something a little heavier because the paper is going to be getting all the glue. Give kids paper. This can be scraps, crumbled tissue paper, whole sheets, does not matter. Have kids tear the paper into small pieces and glue it within the S. This tearing activity is great for fine motor practice, and it's just fun. If your kids end up loving the paper tearing activity, I have another paper tearing craft with a story that they can do. I'll link it here and in the description. We've done lots of fine motor practice. Let's get a little gross motor practice in here and get the body moving. I always like to throw some gross motor activities into the mix because they're kids and it's hard to sit still for a long time. Let them wiggle. We're going to pretend to be snakes. I promise you this will be a million times cuter when you do it with your kids, and don't just watch a 40-year-old woman do it. Get down on the floor with them if you can and wiggle around like snakes, making the hissing sound. Now what happens when the snake gets a little tired? It curls up just a little. Curve your bodies to make an S, still making that sound, but now a little like a snore. Have kids match you, curving into the S and snoring to Sleep. Keep practicing that S sound. Final activity, and you can leave this one out for a while. Often, the invitation to play is more tempting when it's given a soft introduction and kids are able to explore it at will. For this one, we're going to do a sorting activity. Couple choices here. You can gather a bunch of small toys or objects from around the house and put them in the bin. Make sure about half of the objects make that S sound. If you don't have objects you want to use, you can print out the letter S item cards from my store. I'll link that below too. Invite the kids to sort the items into S and not S groups. I put little cups in my bin for kids to drop the objects in. You can put tongs in the bin as well if kids want a little more of a challenge.
Whew! That was a lot. Hopefully you got at least 1 or 2 ideas that will work for your kids and for your family. And remember, some of these ideas will work not just for the letter S, they could work for any letter. Take the sensory bin or the Play-Doh and use those on whatever letter you're doing next. If this was helpful, consider hitting like and subscribing. I will do more letters with more ideas in the future. In fact, let me know in the comments what letter you think I should do next.